Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dead Time Stories. I know many of you enjoy listening to these videos as you fall asleep, so before you drift off, I'd love for you to leave a comment letting me know where in the world you're tuning in from. And if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe. All right. Now let's get comfortable, relax, and dive into tonight's story. At 11:38 p.m., the library exhaled the way buildings do when nobody's laughing or arguing inside them. The automatic doors were locked. The HVAC cycled down to a hushed, steady breath. The lamps along the stacks glowed in hard, tidy rows. Rosa Vasquez rolled her yellow mop bucket across the polished concrete, its wheels clicking over a seam she knew by heart. She'd worked nights at Rio Grande Community College for 7 years. She could walk the place dark, with her eyes shut, and tell you where the floor rose a quarter inch, where the AC vent rattled like loose change, and which study Carol still had a carved heart with J+N in the wood. Her radio crackled. Custodian 2. Status? Finishing the 3rd floor, Rosa said. Thumb pressed to the side button. Stairs and lobby next. All quiet. Copy. Officer Sosa's voice was young and bored. Try not to slip. Rosa smirked. I'll do my best. She was ringing the mop when a phone rang. It was the bright, brittle ring of a desk phone. The kind that makes you stand up even when you think it's not your problem. The library's circulation phones were tied to the campus system and went to voicemail after hours. Rosa stared down the long aisle toward the circulation desk. Lamps. Computers. The glass wall beyond everything exactly as she'd left it 10 minutes ago. The phone rang again. Rosa parked the bucket behind the reference shelves. Her steps were soft in rubber-soled shoes. The ring had a weird, hollow quality, like it was bouncing off metal walls. It wasn't coming from the circulation desk. It was coming from the glassed-in IT closet behind it, a place she cleaned once a week with a badge and a signed logbook, where old towers and routers slept on wire racks. The closet door was shut, the light inside off. The phone rang a 3rd time from inside. Rosa's chest drew tight. She pressed the radio button. Sosa. Did you guys leave a phone in the IT closet on 3? Negative. It uses soft phones. I'm hearing a ring, she said, inside the closet. Silence. Then, you have access? Yeah. Want backup? Rosa looked at the closet's reflection in the door, her own shape framed by stacks. She hated calling for backup for shadows. It made them treat her like a civilian and her like a nuisance. I'll check, she said. She pulled the key ring from her belt, found a long-necked key with the blue heat shrink, and slid it into the lock. The closet light popped on as the door opened. Cool air. Dust. Metal. No phone on the little rolling cart. No handset on the patch panel. The ring cut off mid-cycle, as if a finger had pressed down somewhere. Anything? Sosa asked. Rosa stepped in. Shelves of labeled gear. AP-17. Switch 3. Spare. Coiled cables hung like gray vines. A cardboard banker's box sat on the floor, half crushed. Something white stuck out from the side slit of folded paper. She nudged it with her shoe. It was an index card in crisp block letters. Don't lock the west exit. She felt the cold creep up her ribs. The west exit was the staff door by the loading dock, the one she always locked last. Right before midnight. Sosa, she said, voice tighter. I found a note. What kind of note? Don't lock the west exit. A beat. Prank? Maybe. Rosa looked for a camera. Nothing pointed into the closet. I'm locking it. She pocketed the card, closed the closet. and rolled the bucket toward the stairs. The building ticked normal tick, settling tick, but now the space between sounds felt crowded with listening. At the landing, she saw the mop water sloshing in small waves. She hadn't pushed it that fast. Second floor, study tables. Quiet. A flyer on the corkboard fluttered in the AC breeze. Counseling after hours, you're not alone. Hello, a voice said. Close. Rosa spun. The hallway behind her was empty. The voice had not come from behind. It had come from her radio so soft she'd almost missed it. Not Sosa, a whisper. Rosa. Her thumb slammed the talk button. Who is this? Static breathed back at her. Then the faintest scrape, like someone's palm brushing the microphone. She stared down the hall to the west exit. A thin strip of night showed under the door. The push bar gleamed. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A single sound came through the line. Small and raw. The sound a throat makes when it's trying not to cry. Help. A girl whispered. Rosa pressed the phone hard to her ear. Where are you? Silence. Quick breath. Then, it's cold. He locked the door. The voice was young 15, 16, Spanish edges in the vowels. Please. Who is this? Rosa moved without thinking. Bucket abandoned. Shoes whispering over wax. What door? A hollow thud came through the line, as if the phone had bumped wood. By the trucks, the one with a red light. The loading dock, the west exit. Rosa's mouth went dry. Listen to me, she said, forcing her voice low and steady. Stay by the door. I'm coming. Do you understand? Don't run. Don't shout. Just wait. Okay. The word frayed into a whimper. The line went dead. She hit her radio. Sosa. Respond. Static. Then. Go ahead. I got a call. Girl says she's at the loading dock. Says someone locked her in. A pause full of protocol. Is she a student? Sounds like one. I'm on my way to the west side. He said, do not engage alone. I'm 2 minutes away. Rosa said, already rounding the corner to the staff hallway. Wait for me. She thought of the index card. Don't lock the west exit. A note before the call, as if someone had known, as if someone wanted that door open. Her free hand slid into her pocket and gripped the card until the edges bit. The staff hallway was colder, the air tasting faintly of detergent and old paper. Rosa passed the break room's dark rectangle, the mailroom's tidy cubbies. At the hall's end, the west exit's push bar glimmered under the red glow of the emergency sign. She slowed. The strip of night under the door was wider here, breathing a draft that smelled like wet concrete. She pressed her ear to the metal. On the other side, no movement she could hear, just the distant thrum of campus chillers. Hello, she murmured. It's Rosa. Something tapped the door, right where her head was. A small, flinching sound, like a fingernail hitting metal. She jerked back. Heart bucking. I'm here. The girl whispered through the door, the metal making her voice tinny. Please. Rosa tried the handle. The bolt had been thrown from the inside. That was normal, after hours. The dock vestibule locked on both sides. Accessible by badge or key. Rosa fumbled her ring. Her hand was shaking now. Twice she picked the wrong key. The third slid in and turned with a mechanical cough. Rosa. Sosa said over the radio. Hold position. I'm too late. The habit of 7 years. The muscle memory of helping young people who forgot their IDs moved her faster than caution. She pushed the bar, and the door boomed into the vestibule. It was a wedge of concrete between building and dock shutters, lit by one humming fluorescent. The air was colder by 10 degrees. The far door out to the dock hung shut, in its window a rectangle of darker dark. Rosa stepped inside. "Where are you?" she called. The fluorescent flickered. In the corner, beside a rolling bin, a shape uncurled from shadow. Small. Hoodie up. Knees drawn to chest. A girl. Yes, jeans. Scuffed sneakers. A canvas backpack clutched like a life preserver. Tear tracks silvered her cheeks. Rosa softened her voice. "Mija. It's okay. Did you hurt yourself?" The girl shook her head. Knuckles white on the backpack straps. Her eyes kept flicking past Rosa, toward the inner door, toward the crack at the bottom where warm library light leaked through. "He's still in there," she whispered. Rosa's skin tightened all over. "Who?" The girl's answer was almost breathless. "The man with the keys." Rosa's fingers stiffened around her own ring of keys, their weight suddenly heavier at her hip. She glanced back toward the door she'd just come through, the warm light spilling out in a thin trapezoid onto the cold concrete floor. The vestibule was supposed to be secure, locked from both sides. Only employees with keys or security badges could get in here. "There's no one else inside," Rosa said carefully. She kept her voice low, like she was coaxing a child down from a tree. "Security does rounds. Maybe you saw him?" The girl shook her head fast. Too fast. Her backpack thumped against her chest as she pulled it closer. "Not security. He had your keys, all of them." The fluorescent overhead popped and buzzed, the light dimming for a split second. Rosa felt the prickle of sweat at her temples. "My keys are right here," she said, lifting them so the metal flashed. "You see, with me." But the girl's wide eyes never softened. She pointed an unsteady finger toward the seam under the inner door. "He was standing there," she whispered. "He dropped something, a ring. It sounded like yours." Rosa's breath caught. The image hit her too sharply, a double of herself. Silhouette in the same uniform, carrying the same ring. A sound like her keys hitting the floor. The radio barked suddenly, loud against the silence. "Custodian 2. Do you copy? Rosa?" She jumped. "Sosa. I'm in the dock vestibule. The girl's here, but..." She hesitated, eyes still locked on the girl's terrified face. "She says there's someone else inside, someone with keys." The channel hissed. "No one should have keys but you and IT. I'm outside. West side. 2 minutes. Make it 1. Rosa muttert." The girl flinched at the sound of the radio and whispered urgently. "He hears everything." Rosa crouched down, ignoring the cold seeping through her knees. She set a hand gently on the girl's arm. It was trembling, stiff as a wire. "Listen to me. We'll walk out together when security gets here. You're safe now. No one's going to touch you." But as Rosa said it, a sound clattered from the other side of the inner door, metal on metal. Slow and deliberate, like a key being tested in a lock. The girl's eyes filled with fresh panic. "He found us." The fluorescent flickered again, dimming to a sick yellow pulse. Rosa stood up quick, her pulse hammering. She pressed the radio. "Sosa. Hurry. He's at the inner door." A pause. Static. Then, "Rosa, I'm looking right at the west vestibule from outside. Both doors are closed. Nobody's near you." The key turned again on the other side of the door. This time, the bolt slid back with a clean, mechanical snap. The sound of the bolt sliding back cut through the vestibule like a blade. Rosa's breath hitched, her eyes locked on the door she had just come through from the library side. The girl whimpered, pressing herself into the corner. "Don't let him in." Rosa raised her radio. hand trembling. Sosa. I just heard the lock turn. Don't tell me no one's here, I heard it. Static. Then his voice steady. Too steady. Stay put. I'm 20 feet out. If that door opens, I'll see him. The knob jiggled once, then silence. Rosa stepped closer. Every muscle warning her not to. The metal of the door vibrated faintly, as if something leaned against it from the other side. She flattened her palm against it. The steel was colder than the dock air. Cold enough to burn. The girl's voice came in a sharp whisper. Don't touch it. Too late. The door handle jerked violently under Rosa's hand. Not turning, just rattling like a trapped thing trying to shake its cage. The fluorescent sputtered again, and for an instant the entire vestibule went black. Rosa's hand flew to her belt, fumbling for her flashlight. Light blasted back a second later. The door was still shut. But something had changed. The strip of glow that had been seeping under the door-warm library light was gone. The seam was dark, as if the world beyond had been snuffed out. Rosa staggered back, pressing the radio so hard to her cheek it hurt. Sosa. What do you see at the inner door? Silence stretched. Then came his voice. Lower now. Rosa, both doors look shut from out here. No light inside. Are you still in the vestibule? Her stomach dropped. Yes. Then his voice cracked. Confused. Why can't I see you through the glass? The girl gasped. Rosa whipped her head around. The girl wasn't looking at the door anymore. She was looking past Rosa, toward the corner opposite her, where a shadow had thickened into something more solid. It was a man's shape, tall, shoulders filling the corner, head bent slightly as if listening, and on his belt, glinting when the fluorescent flickered, a loop of keys. The girl choked on a sob. That's him. Rosa's throat closed. The shadow didn't move forward, didn't breathe. It just waited. Rosa's flashlight was in her hand before she realized she'd drawn it. The heavy maglite clicked on with a beam that cut through the cold haze. She swung it toward the corner. Nothing. Bare concrete wall. A smear of old tape where a sign had once been. The shadow was gone. Her breath came too fast. She scanned the whole vestibule. The girl curled up. The gray floor. The metal doors. No one else. But she knew what she'd seen. Broad shoulders. The glint of keys. The girl's terrified certainty wasn't imagined. Rosa? Sosa's voice cracked through the radio again. Thinner now. Like the signal was traveling too far. What's your status? She forced her voice to stay level. There was someone in here. Man with keys. He's gone now. A pause. Do not leave the vestibule. I'm at the west dock door. Outside. If you open, we walk out together. Rosa looked at the outer door's narrow window. Beyond the glass, blackness. The sodium lights over the dock should have been glowing amber, but the window only reflected the sick yellow of the lone fluorescent inside. She swallowed. I don't see you. Another pause. I'm right here. The voice was steady, but wrong. A flatness under the words, and her gut-twisted Sosa never called himself I. On the radio? He always used code Unit 1. Security. Behind her. The girl whispered. Don't open it. That's not him. The fluorescent above buzzed, flickered, and the door handle at the outer dock door gave a sudden, sharp rattle. The radio hissed with static at the same time, filling the vestibule with white noise like rushing water. Rosa spun back toward the inner door, the one that should have led to the library. Her beam caught the seam again dark, sealed. No light at all, but under the static, she swore she heard voices, faint, like students studying, pages turning, a printer kicking on. The sounds of the library alive and busy, though she knew it was nearly midnight, and the place was empty. The girl clutched her backpack tighter. "He wants you to pick," she whispered. Rosa froze. "What?" The girl's eyes shone wet, wide. One door leads back, one door doesn't. The outer door rattled again, harder this time, the glass vibrating in its frame. The inner door, at the same instant, gave a low, metallic groan, as if weight pressed on the other side. Rosa's hands slicked with sweat on the flashlight. She raised the radio, her voice a rough whisper. "Sosa, if that's you, tell me something only you would know." The static eased just enough for the reply. "You park by the north lot every night." Her blood iced. True, she'd never told him that. Rosa's pulse thudded in her ears. She hadn't told Sosa where she parked. She'd never spoken it. Not to him. Not to anyone. Her routine was private, unremarkable. The kind of thing you don't even realize could be noticed. The girl whimpered. "Don't listen, that's not him." The radio hissed again. The voice came clearer now, deeper than Sosa's usual register. Slow, like someone savoring each word. "North lot, silver Corolla, scratch on the rear bumper. Left side." Rosa's stomach dropped. The detail was too exact. She thought of how she parked under the broken lamp to save time, how the dark always felt like it pressed in on her shoulders walking to the building. Whoever was speaking had seen her, watched her. Her thumb hovered over the radio button, but she didn't press it. She couldn't. The inner door shivered, metal flexing with pressure from the unseen. From behind it came the faint murmur of voices again. Impossible and steady. Laughter. A cough. The squeak of sneakers across tile. The ordinary life of the library, as if time inside had never moved past noon. The girl pulled her hood lower over her face. "He wants you to open one. He wants you to pick wrong." Rosa backed until her shoulders hit the cold wall. Her flashlight beam jittered across the cinder blocks. She thought of the note, "Don't lock the west exit," and how neatly it had been written. Placed right where she'd find it. Someone had been here earlier. Someone had planned this. She forced herself to kneel beside the girl again. "What's your name?" "Maya?" The girl's lips trembled before she answered. "Anna." "Okay. Anna, you stay right here with me. We're not opening anything until I know what's behind them. You hear me?" Anna gave the tiniest nod, but her eyes stayed on the doors, wide and glassy. The outer dock door rattled once more, then stopped. The radio went quiet. The fluorescent hummed. Steady again. For a moment, the silence was so deep it hurt. Then, with a sound like nails dragging down a chalkboard, something slid across the concrete floor on the other side of the inner door. Slow, deliberate, heavy enough that Rosa could feel the vibration through the soles of her shoes. Anna clamped both hands over her ears, rocking. "Don't let him in," she hissed through her teeth. "Please, don't." Rosa's mouth was dry as sand. She lifted the maglite like a club and fixed her eyes on the inner door. And then soft, impossible a knock came. 3 gentle raps, as though a student were politely asking the librarian for help. Librarian. The knock was almost courteous, 3 light taps, evenly spaced. The sound shouldn't have been terrifying, but it slid down Rosa's spine like ice water. Anna whimpered, rocking hard. Her hands clamped over her ears. "Don't answer, don't answer." Rosa's throat tightened. She raised the maglite higher. Beam steady on the seam of the door. "Who's there?" she demanded, voice hard enough to mask the shake in it. From the other side came a pause. Then a man's voice warm. "Familiar. It's Souza. Let me in." Rosa's gut lurched. The tone was exactly his. The easy calm he always tried to project on night shift. She knew it like she knew her own reflection. But it had come from behind the inner door, the library side. Her radio stayed silent. "Open up." "Rosa." The voice coaxed. "It's not safe in there. You've got to come out." Anna ripped her hands from her ears. Eyes wild. "That's not him. Don't you hear it?" Rosa hesitated. The voice sounded not off, not flat, but too perfect. As though smoothed down to fit Sosa's cadence without the little quirks, the quick breaths, the clipped consonants. It was him, but polished, hollow. Her knuckles whitened on the maglite. "Say the code." "Sosa, the one we use after 11. Silence pressed against the door like a held breath. Then, "Don't waste time. Just open it." Rosa's heart hammered. The real Sosa always said unit clear after 11. Always. She backed away from the door, pulling Anna with her. The girl's arm was thin, trembling under Rosa's grip. The knock came again. Harder this time. 3 sharp bangs that made the fluorescent flicker. Anna's voice was a rasp. "He can't say it. He doesn't know." The radio at Rosa's belt crackled suddenly. And this time the voice was frantic. Rushed the real one. "Rosa, stay away from the doors. I'm circling the dock now. Can you hear me?" Relief hit so fast it almost knocked her down. "Yes." She gasped, pressing the radio. "I hear you." Anna exhaled a shaky sob, curling tighter into Rosa's side. But even as the relief steadied her, the inner door handle twisted slowly, smooth and deliberate. The bolt had already been thrown. Something on the other side was letting itself in. The handle turned with agonizing patience, metal grinding against metal until the latch released with a muted click. Rosa yanked Anna behind her. Flashlight held high like a weapon. The inner door creaked inward. The seam of black widened into a rectangle of nothing, not shadow. Not the warm glow of the library, just absence. A depthless dark that swallowed the fluorescent's pale light. Rosa's stomach clenched. She'd cleaned that hallway for years. She knew exactly what should be visible. The staff corridor, the corkboard with flyers, the vending machine that hummed low, but there was none of it. The door opened onto a void. Anna whimpered, clutching Rosa's arm so tightly it hurt. "Don't look at it. Don't." The radio hissed alive again. "Rosa." Sosa's voice was sharp. "Urgent. I can see you through the outer dock window now. You're standing too close to the inner door. Back away." Her eyes flicked instinctively toward the dock window, and there blessedly was his shape, a dark figure in a security uniform. Framed in the amber glow of campus lights, reality, solid. But when she turned back, the inner doorway's black had changed. Something stood inside it now. It was tall, its edges blurred as though seen underwater, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, studying her, and on its belt, a familiar jangle, keys, dozens of them, gleaming as they swayed. The figure lifted its hand slowly, palm outward, as if to beckon. The air in the vestibule grew colder, her breath fogging. Anna screamed, "Close it! Close it now!" Rosa slammed her shoulder into the door. The weight on the other side resisted immense, unyielding, like pressing against a wall that wasn't there yesterday. For a heartbeat, she thought it was useless. But then the door grudgingly gave way, inch by inch, until the latch caught and the seams sealed again with a metallic snap. The fluorescent above them popped, buzzing harder, casting shadows that jittered across the walls. Her radio crackled once more. "Rosa, I'm unlocking the outer door. We're leaving now. Do not look back at that door again. Copy?" Rosa pressed the button so hard her thumb stung. "Copy." Anna clung to her side, sobbing. The outer dock handle rattled, then turned smoothly. The door opened outward, and the amber light of the campus spilled inside. Sosa's broad frame filled the doorway, his real face, his real uniform, his real badge. "Move," he ordered. "Now." But as Rosa stepped forward, dragging Anna with her, the fluorescent behind them flickered one last time, and she heard it, a new sound, faint but distinct, coming from the sealed inner door. The jingle of keys, shaking as if in laughter. The night air hit Rosa like a slap, sharp and real. The dock smelled of wet asphalt and diesel, a scent she knew too well from countless deliveries. Sosa grabbed the outer door and held it wide while she and Anna hurried out. His flashlight cut arcs across the pavement, searching for movement. "Move toward the lot," he barked, voice clipped with urgency. "Stay in my line." Rosa clutched Anna's arm, pulling her down the concrete steps. Her legs felt rubbery, but the solid ground steadied her some. The amber glow of the campus lamps seemed almost holy after the fluorescent's twitching glow. Sosa shut the vestibule door with a bang and snapped the bolt. What the hell happened in there? Rosa shook her head, chest heaving. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." "Try me." He glanced at Anna. "And who's this?" Anna's hood had slipped back, revealing a pale, tear-streaked face. She looked younger under the lights, maybe 14. 15 at most. She didn't answer, only pressed against Rosa as if she were an anchor. "She says her name's Anna." Rosa managed. "Says there's a man inside, with keys." Sosa's expression hardened. He scanned the dock, the lot beyond, the silent campus buildings. No one should have been in there. Rosa's radio crackled again, and her heart seized. But this time the voice that came through wasn't Sosa's. It was deeper, distorted, dragging syllables like chains. "Rosa." She froze. The voice was thick with mockery, using her name like it had owned it forever. The real Sosa swore and snatched the radio from her belt, twisting the dial. Static. Then silence. He clipped it back, jaw tight. "We're leaving, now." But Anna tugged Rosa's sleeve, her eyes wide. "He's not trapped in there anymore." The words chilled Rosa more than the night air. She turned back toward the vestibule. From this angle, she could see through the narrow glass slit in the door. No movement, just darkness inside. And then, faint against the metal, 3 new knocks, slow, heavy. Sosa shoved them forward, steering toward the lot. "Don't look back." They half-jogged across the asphalt, shoes scuffing. Rosa's Corolla sat in its usual place, under the broken lamp. The car looked smaller than she remembered, fragilely, too exposed. "Keys." Sosa ordered, holding out his hand. Rosa fumbled, her fingers stiff from cold and adrenaline. She dropped the ring once before forcing it into his palm. The jingle of her real keys was sharp, ordinary and almost unbearable. He unlocked the Corolla, shoved Rosa and Anna into the back seat, then slid into the driver's side. The engine coughed to life. For a heartbeat, Rosa felt the relief of escape. Then her eyes shifted to the side mirror, far back at the dock. The vestibule door now stood wide open, and something tall was stepping out into the amber glow. Rosa's breath caught, fogging the back window. In the mirror's warped reflection, the figure stepped fully onto the dock. It was taller than she remembered seeing in the vestibule. Shoulders hunched, as if scraping against an unseen ceiling. Its face, she couldn't see its face. Only the dark suggestion of features, shifting like smoke. But the keys, those were clear, dozens of them, dangling in a heavy loop at its waist, glinting in the sodium lamps with every slow step. The sound carried across the lot, a metallic jangle, deliberate, like it wanted her to hear. "Go," Rosa whispered hoarsely, then louder. Panicked, "Go." Sosa didn't need telling twice. He slammed the Corolla into gear, tires squealing as they tore across the lot. The broken lamp flashed overhead as they passed, then the rest of the campus slipped by in streaks of orange light and shadow. Anna crouched low in the back seat, eyes squeezed shut, her fingers digging into Rosa's arm. "He'll follow," she said. "He always follows." Rosa smoothed the girl's hair automatically, though her own hands shook. "Not if we get far enough away," she murmured, not believing it. Sosa's jaw was set hard as he drove. "I saw it," he muttered, voice low, as if saying it too loud would make it real. "I saw it come out. What the hell is it?" Rosa didn't answer. She kept her gaze locked on the mirror. The dock had vanished behind them, swallowed in the night. But even as the campus lights dwindled, she thought she could still hear it, the faintest metallic clatter, like keys rattling in the glove box. The car picked up speed on the empty highway, the rhythm of the tires thumping over seams in the asphalt. For a few blessed moments, there was nothing but road. Then Anna sat up suddenly, eyes wide, staring out the rear window. Rosa turned. Far behind them, in the darkness of the shoulder, a figure walked, too far to make out detail, but tall, steady, and with every step, the faint glint of swinging metal caught the headlights of cars miles back. The girl whispered like a prayer. "He doesn't need doors, he already has the keys." Sosa pressed the accelerator harder, the Corolla's old engine groaning as it climbed past 70. "Not possible," he muttered, though his knuckles were white on the wheel. "Nobody walks that fast." Rosa twisted in her seat, eyes locked on the receding figure. It should have shrunk into the distance. Instead, with every flash of a roadside reflector, it seemed closer, its outline sharper against the black, and the keys jangling in perfect rhythm with the tires hitting each seam in the road. Anna rocked in the seat beside her, whispering something under her breath in a fast, frantic loop. Rosa leaned close, straining to catch the words. It was a prayer, the Lord's Prayer, but fractured, stammered, the syllables colliding. "Focus ahead," Rosa said, pulling the girl against her chest, shielding her eyes. "Don't look back." Sosa flicked a glance in the rear view. His breath hitched. "It's closer." The Corolla veered slightly as his grip wavered. Rosa snapped, sharper than she meant. "Eyes on the road." He blinked steadied them in the lane, but his voice cracked. If it catches us out here, nobody's coming to help." The highway stretched empty in both directions. No cars. No trucks. Not even a glimmer of taillights ahead. Just an endless ribbon of asphalt cutting through scrubland. Rosa forced her thoughts into order. "We'll get to town, to people. It won't follow with people around." But as she said it, a metallic rattle sounded from the glove box, just once. Sharp, like something inside had shifted. Anna whimpered. "He's already here." The air in the car thickened, colder, as though someone had cracked the windows. Rosa's breath fogged faintly, even with the heater on. Then came a knock. 3 gentle raps. Unmistakable. From the inside of the trunk, Sosa swore, slamming his palm against the steering wheel. No, 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 no. The knocking came again, louder, and with it, the jangling of keys, muffled but clear, from inside their own car. The sound froze Rosa's blood. 3 solid knocks. Then the unmistakable drag of metal against metal, like a keyring sliding across the inside wall of the trunk. Anna screamed, curling into herself. He's in here. He's already in here. Impossible. Sosa barked. Though his voice cracked, he gripped the wheel so hard it squealed under his palms. The trunks locked from outside. Nobody. The knocks came again, louder this time. Vibrating through the chassis, Rosa felt them in her spine, in her teeth. Her hands shook as she leaned forward, shouting over the engine, "Don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop the car." Sosa's jaw was locked, sweat streaking his temple. "You think I'm pulling over?" The keys rattled harder, a chaotic jingle that filled the car like a dozen phones ringing at once, and beneath it, something else, a whisper, low, drawn out, her name. Rosa. Her throat tightened. She slapped the radio clipped to Sosa's vest, desperate for some normalcy, some tether. Unit 1. "Do you copy? Anyone?" Static answered, thick, drowning static, and threaded inside it another voice, male, calm, almost amused. "Wrong door." Rosa. She hurled the radio into the floorboard, the crack of plastic loud in the tight space. Anna clawed at Rosa's sleeve. "He wants you to open it," she cried. "He always wants you to open the wrong door." The car jolted over a bump. Something in the trunk shifted with a heavy thud, as if a body had rolled against the frame. Rosa met Sosa's eyes in the mirror. His face was pale. "Hard. We can't drive forever," he said. "We don't stop." Rosa shot back. "We make it to town. To lights. To people. He can't follow us everywhere." But Anna's voice rose, sharp and hopeless. "Yes, he can. He has the keys." And then, as if to prove her right, the car's central locks clunked all at once. Unlocked. Every door handle inside the Corolla popped up in unison, the sound like bones snapping. The sound of the locks releasing sent a bolt of terror through the cabin. All 4 handles lifted, little plastic stalks trembling as if an invisible hand had tugged them. "Relock them," Rosa shouted, voice cracking. Sosa slammed his thumb on the switch. The locks clunked back down, only to pop up again a heartbeat later. Click, 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 as if someone were playing with them, taunting, flipping them up and down in a sick rhythm. Anna screamed and pressed both hands against her door handle, holding it down like a child trying to stop a jack-in-the-box from springing. He wants in. The air inside the car dropped 10 degrees. So cold, Rosa's breath fogged. She grabbed Anna's shoulders, pulling her closer, shielding her body with her own. "Don't let go. Do you hear me? Don't you dare let go." The keys rattled violently in the trunk now, like 100 metal teeth gnashing together. Beneath it came a slow creak of hinges, the echo of a door swinging open somewhere it shouldn't. Rosa smelled it, then a sharp tang of old iron. Damp concrete, the scent of basements and locked rooms. Sosa's face was set, eyes wild. "Hold on." He jerked the wheel. The Corolla swerved off the highway and onto a farm to Market Road, tires spitting gravel. "If it wants the highway, it can keep it. We'll cut through town the back way." The car bumped and rattled on the rough road, dust pluming in the mirrors. Rosa risked a glance back. Her breath caught. In the rear window, the figure wasn't far off anymore. It walked the gravel shoulder like the distance meant nothing. Keys swinging, catching the moonlight in cruel flashes. Anna saw it too. She buried her face into Rosa's arm, sobbing. He's closer. He's closer. Then, from the back seat's thin upholstery, just inches behind them, came the soft, deliberate scrape of metal against fabric, as though a key were being pressed slowly into the seat back, testing the lock from the wrong side. The scraping grew louder, a steady metallic probing, as though something on the other side of the seat were searching for the right place to push through. Rosa pressed Anna tighter against her, shielding her body. "Drive faster," she barked, her own voice ragged. "I'm maxed out without blowing a tire." Souza snapped, knuckles white on the wheel. The Corolla lurched over potholes, suspension groaning. The scrape stopped for a heartbeat. Silence hung in the car heavy, expectant. Then came a sound Rosa couldn't mistake, the tick of a key finding purchase. Anna wailed. "He's unlocking it." The fabric of the seatback bulged outward, faint at first, then more like a hand pressing from inside, stretching the cloth until threads squealed. A cold draft bled into the cabin, carrying the same basement iron smell Rosa had caught before. She swung the mag light around, beam pinning the bulge. "Stay back," she shouted. Absurdly, at the fabric, the light trembled in her shaking grip. The seat gave another push. This time, Rosa saw it, the silhouette of a keyring pressing through. Dozens of keys fanning outward like claws. The jingling filled the car, drowning out the engine. Souza cursed, jerking the wheel to swerve around a rusted mailbox. "Rosa, don't stop," she screamed. Anna's sobs broke into hiccups, words tumbling out. "He gets in. He takes us. That's what he does. That's what he always does." Rosa's heart hammered so violently it hurt. "Always?" She shook the girl. Desperate. "What do you mean always? You've seen him before?" Anna nodded frantically, eyes wild. "He comes for anyone who opens the wrong door." The fabric tore with a sick rip. Metal glinted through a loop of keys forcing its way out. Rosa acted without thinking. She raised the maglite high and brought it down hard, smashing the beam into the bulge. The light cracked, plastic splintering, but the blow made the seat shudder. The keys slipped back, retreating into the dark. The jingling stopped. For a single heartbeat, Rosa dared to breathe. Then, from the trunk, came 3 knocks, slow, heavy, each one stronger than the last, shaking the car like fists on a coffin lid. The whole Corolla vibrated with the blows. Metal groaned, the rear-view mirror trembling until it nearly snapped from its mount. The sound wasn't just on the trunk anymore, it was in it, deep, as though the car itself had grown hollow and the knocking came from its bones. Souza gritted his teeth, slamming the gas. "We'll outrun it," his voice cracked, betraying how little he believed it. The third knock echoed into silence. For a moment, Rosa thought it was over. Then came the click sharp, mechanical, the sound of the trunk latch releasing. The lid rattled once, then slowly, impossibly, it began to lift. Though the car tore down the road at 80, cold air roared inside, filling the cabin with the stink of iron and damp earth. Anna shrieked, curling into Rosa. "Don't let him out! Don't let him out!" Rosa twisted, grabbing at the dangling strap above the back seat. Sosa, brake. He slammed the pedal. Tires screamed. The car fishtailed. Gravel spitting in a storm. The trunk lid slammed back down from the momentum, shuddering against its frame. The Corolla skidded to a crooked stop in the dirt shoulder. Dust rose around them, choking the headlights' glow. Breath heaving. Rosa clutched Anna tighter. Her ears rang with the silence after screeching tires. Sosa turned, sweat plastering his hair. That thing's not riding with us. We end it now. He yanked his baton from his belt, already pushing his door open. Rosa's hand shot out, grabbing his sleeve. Don't. We can't keep running. His eyes burned. Jaw set. If it's in the trunk, I'll finish it. Rosa's voice broke into a rasp. You'll only open the wrong door. As if to answer, the trunk latch clicked again. The lid rose an inch, just enough for light to catch the black gap underneath. From inside, the keys rattled, slow, deliberate, followed by a voice, low and sing-song, curling like smoke into the cabin. Rusa, choose. The word stretched until it vibrated in her ribs. Anna buried her face against Rosa's chest, shaking. Don't let him make you pick. The trunk lid shuddered again, ready to rise. And for the first time, Rosa realized her own hands were moving toward the back seat lever, the release handle just beside her knee, as though something wanted her to help open it from the inside. Rosa yanked her hand back, clutching it against her chest as though burned. Her fingers still tingled, as if invisible strings had pulled them toward the lever. No, she whispered fiercely to herself. No, that's not me. Sosa had one foot out on the gravel, baton in hand, his face a storm of anger and fear. We can't sit here. Rosa, if it comes out on its own, we're done. Better to face it standing. Rosa lunged forward, grabbing his wrist with both hands. If you open it, you'll give it exactly what it wants. You don't fight something like this by inviting it in. The trunk groaned again, rising another inch on its own. A freezing draft spilled forward, curling around Rosa's ankles. The smell was stronger now, rust, mildew, something like the coppery bite of old blood. Anna cried out, voice cracking. He makes you want to. That's how he gets you. He makes you open the wrong door yourself. The girl's words hit Rosa like a hammer. That was the trick. Not forcing. Not breaking through, making you choose. The trunk latch rattled. Another click. Another inch wider. A single key, impossibly long, slid through the gap and clattered onto the bumper with a metallic ring. Rosa's chest seized. The key gleamed in the red wash of the taillights. Wet-looking, its teeth jagged and too many. Sosa tore his arm free and stepped out of the car. I'm ending this. Don't, Rosa screamed, scrambling after him. Gravel bit her knees as she hit the ground. Reaching for his arm, Sosa. Please. But he was already at the trunk. Baton raised. His breath smoked in the night air, though it wasn't cold enough for frost. Come on. Then, he growled. The trunk lifted smoothly, silently, until the lid stood straight, gaping. Inside was no spare tire, no lining, no car at all, just a black, yawning space that breathed cold air into the night. And from within, the sound of keys, rattling in celebration, The darkness inside wasn't absence, it was thick, textured, as though velvet soaked in oil had been stretched across the opening. The Corolla's taillights should have cut into it, but the glow stopped at the lip, swallowed whole. Sosa froze at the sight, baton trembling in his grip, his breath puffed white, streaming into the night. What the hell? Rosa crawled up from the gravel, dragging Anna with her. Throat tight. Close it. Now. But before Sosa could move, the void shifted. It rippled, like water stirred from beneath, and something rose from it. A pale hand, too long in the fingers, dangling a ring of keys that clinked together with delicate grace. Sosa stumbled back, his baton dropping into the dirt. The hand paused at the edge of the trunk, waiting, palm outward in a grotesque parody of offering. Anna buried her face in Rosa's jacket, her voice muffled but urgent. Don't touch it, that's how it starts. The hand dangled the keys once more, the sound impossibly loud in the still night. Rosa's body betrayed her again, her own hand twitched forward, aching to reach, to take. She clenched her fist, forcing it to her side, nails biting into her palm. Not mine, she hissed. You don't get to choose for me. The hand slowly withdrew into the black, the keys dragging last with a mocking scrape against the bumper. The void shivered once, then stilled. For a moment, there was only the hiss of the wind in the mesquite. Sosa sucked in a ragged breath and slammed the trunk down hard. It latched with a deafening clunk. He staggered back, chest heaving. Rosa pushed Anna into the back seat again, then rounded on him. Don't ever open the wrong door. I wasn't thinking, he said hoarsely, eyes still locked on the sealed trunk. But his words died as the Corolla's headlights flickered, then dimmed, then cut out entirely, plunging them into night. From every direction, the empty road, the scrubland, the dark horizon, came the sound of keys, hundreds of them, all shaking at once. The night filled with it an ocean of jangling, as if every lock in the world had been turned loose. It came from the ditch grass, from the fence line, from the open road ahead, metallic and sharp. Some high like wind chimes, others deep like chains. Anna screamed and clapped her hands over her ears. He found us. He found all the doors. Rosa's skin prickled, scalp tightening as if her hair might rip free. She grabbed Sosa's arm. Get us moving. The lights are dead, he snapped, fumbling with the switch. He twisted the key in the ignition engine, coughed, sputtered, but refused to catch. The dashboard glowed weakly, then went black. The chorus of keys swelled louder, closer, as if the sound itself were circling them. Rosa spun in the road, flashlight beam slicing the dark. For a heartbeat, the light caught movement shapes in the mesquite trees, tall figures just at the edge of sight, each one swaying with something glinting at their belts. Her hand trembled so hard the beam jittered wildly. There's more than one. Sosa cursed, pounding the wheel. Out of the car. We can't stay boxed in. No, Rosa shouted. Too quickly. The trunk shuddered once in agreement, the lid rattling in its latch. If we leave, we'll be in their ground. The car's still ours. Aina whimpered, rocking against the seat. You can't win. He's got the keys to everything. Not everything, Rosa muttered. Her gaze darted to the glove box. The rattling of keys hitched suddenly, as if reacting to her thought. The glove box had thudded once before. Back on the highway. What if there was a door they hadn't meant for her to open? Hergut twisted, but she lunged forward anyway. Popping the latch, the compartment sagged open with a squeal of tired plastic. Inside, the registration. a broken bin, a faded rosary, her own things, but laid neatly on top, as though it had always been waiting, was a single brass key, old, heavy, its bow worn smooth with use. Her stomach dropped. She hadn't put that there. The jangling outside stopped. Silence fell so sudden her ears rang. Then, from the trunk, came the voice again low, coaxing, a whisper that filled the car without the radio. Choose. Rosa. The brass key gleamed faintly in the dark, as though lit from within. Its edges were worn smooth, teeth crooked and unfamiliar. Nothing like the college's standard issue set she carried at her belt. Rosa's hand hovered over it, trembling. She felt heat radiating from the metal warmth, alive in a way keys shouldn't be. "Don't touch it," Anna hissed from the back seat. Her small hands clutched Rosa's sleeve. "That one's his, too. That's how he tricks you." Sosa leaned across, eyes flicking between the key and the black road outside. His voice was tight. "Or it's how we lock him out. Maybe it's the only way to end this." The silence outside deepened, pressing into the car. Rosa realized how absolute it was. No crickets. No wind. No far-off hum of tires. Just silence and the weight of 1,000 things listening. Her throat went dry. "If I pick wrong." The trunk answered for her. Knock. Once. Knock. Twice. Knock. 3 times. The lid quivered with each blow. Ready to rise, Anna's voice rose to a desperate wail. "Don't. He makes you think one is safe. But it never is. There's no safe door." But Rosa couldn't pull her eyes from the key. It felt different, not bait. Not an invitation, a demand, like a test placed squarely in her path. Her palm closed around it before she realized she'd moved. The brass was searing hot, burning into her skin. But she didn't drop it. She held on, gasping through the pain. Outside, the silence cracked. The jangling erupted again, angrier now. Furious. The sound of thousands of keys shaking at once. Shadows rushed at the edges of the headlights, swarming forward. Indistinct but tall, their belts blazing with metal teeth. The trunk latch snapped, the lid blasting upward. But what came out wasn't a hand this time. It was a flood of keys. Hundreds of them, spilling like coins, raining across the asphalt. And under the din, the whisper came again, curling like smoke around Rosa's ears. "Now unlock yourself." The brass key scorched in Rosa's palm, branding her skin with its crooked teeth. The whisper coiled inside her head. Strong or no. Not through her ears, but threaded into her thoughts. "Unlock yourself. Unlock yourself." The flood of keys from the trunk scattered across the asphalt, clinking and spinning like loose bones. Some were small and ordinary house keys, car keys, but others were grotesque, impossibly large, jagged like iron teeth. The shapes slithered toward the Corolla's wheels, dragging themselves along the ground as if pulled by unseen strings. Sosa threw his door open. "Baton raised," shouting into the dark. "Stay back. Stay the hell back." The shadows at the edge of the headlights swayed closer. Tall bodies, blurred but solid enough to crunch gravel underfoot. Every movement came with the clang of keys. Endless, deafening. Anna clutched Rosa's arm, eyes wild. "Don't listen to him. If you do what he says, you won't come back. Nobody does." But the brass key pulsed in Rosa's grip, heat sinking deeper into her bones. Images flickered in her mind. jagged as lightning strikes. The library vestibule, doors yawning open into black. A dozen paths stretching out, each one locked by unseen gates. Herself standing at the center, every lock waiting for her hand. She gasped and nearly dropped it, but her fingers refused to unclench. Her body wasn't hers anymore. It wanted the key. Needed it. The whisper twisted deeper. All locks, all doors, all of you, let me in. No, Rosa cried, slamming the key against the dashboard. The plastic cracked, sparks popping as the key gouged into the wiring. For an instant, light flared, the headlights surged back on, stabbing into the swarm of figures. The shadows recoiled, hissing like steam on fire. The jangling rose to a furious crescendo, a storm of metal. Drive, Rosa screamed. Sosa didn't hesitate. He gunned the engine. And this time the Corolla roared to life, as if terrified too. Tires screamed on gravel, flinging shards of stone as the car shot forward into the dark road. Behind them, Rosa saw it in the mirror keys raining down in sheets. A tide chasing after them, sweeping over the asphalt like a metallic flood. And above it all, louder than the engine, louder than her heartbeat, the voice pressed into her skull again. You can't run from the key you already carry. The Corolla tore down the farm road, headlights stabbing through the mesquite. Gravel rattled the undercarriage, every bump threatening to throw them into the ditch. Anna clung to Rosa, sobbing into her sleeve. He marked you with the key. Rosa stared at her burned palm. The brass key's outline had seared into her flesh, teeth etched in red welts. The skin still pulsed with heat, throbbing with every heartbeat. Sosa wrestled the wheel, eyes flicking constantly to the rear view. It's still behind us, he muttered. I can feel it. Rosa forced herself to look. The road stretched black, empty, until it wasn't. One by one, objects jutted up from the asphalt, tiny, then larger. Doorknobs, deadbolts, hinges, whole doors rising from the ground, scattered like tombstones, illuminated by their headlights as they passed. Oak doors, steel fire exits, warped apartment doors with peeling paint. Some hung ajar, swinging gently. The car clipped one, splintering it into shards. Anna screamed. He's making the road into him. Every door is his. Sosa swore under his breath, swerving around a massive iron gate that had erupted across the lane. Where the hell does this road even go anymore? Rosa's voice shook. It doesn't. He's changing it. The whisper seeped back into her head, curling around her thoughts. Every road leads to me. You only have to choose which lock to turn. She slammed her fist against her forehead, as if she could rattle it loose. Get out of my head. But the burn in her palm flared hotter. Her eyes flicked down unwillingly, and for an instant she saw it, the brass key glowing faintly in her grip, though she'd left it smashed into the dashboard. Her breath caught. It was in her hand again. No, she whispered. No, I broke you. Anna pulled back just enough to see. Her face twisted in terror. It comes back. It always comes back, once he gives you a key. It's yours forever. The road bent sharply. Ahead, under the sweep of headlights, stood a massive door set upright across the lane, taller than a house. Black wood studded with rusted locks, each one shivering as though eager. Sosa slammed the brakes, tires screaming. The Corolla skidded sideways, stopping just short of it. The locks rattled. One slid open with a sharp click, then another, then another. Rosa's branded hand began to twitch, moving toward the door's handle all on its own. The massive door loomed above them, blotting out the night sky. Its surface was alive with motion locks twisting, bolts sliding open one after another in an eerie sequence. The sound was deafening, a symphony of clicks and metallic groans, as though every lock in the world were turning at once. Sosa slammed the gear into reverse, tires squealing. "We're not going through that thing." The car lurched backward, but the gravel road behind them had changed. Rosa twisted to look out the rear window, her stomach dropped. Behind them, the road was gone. In its place stretched a corridor of doors, endless, standing upright in rows on either side of the path. Some hung open, swinging in a wind they couldn't feel. Others rattled, straining against invisible hands trying to push through. Each one jingled with keys. Anna shrieked and buried her face in Rosa's chest. "He's closing us in. He doesn't let anyone out once he builds the hall." The giant door in front of them shuddered. One last bolt slid free with a heavy clang, echoing into the still night, slowly, impossibly. The handle turned. Rosa's palm burned like a brand, her hand twitching toward the latch. She gritted her teeth, pinning it against her leg. "No, not mine. You don't get me." The whisper filled the cabin again, curling under her ribs. "You're already unlocked. Rosa, you just haven't stepped through yet." The door cracked open. From the gap spilled a blinding white light, so bright it cut through the night and swallowed the beams of the Corolla's headlights. It wasn't warm like sunlight. It was sterile, humming, almost electric. Sosa threw an arm over his eyes, cursing. "What the hell is that?" Rosa couldn't look away. Inside the light, shapes shifted hallways, rooms, staircases, familiar and unfamiliar all at once. She saw the library vestibule, the college hallways, then her own apartment door standing ajar. A dark figure waiting inside. Her branded palm seared hotter. The brass key shimmered into being between her fingers again, gleaming, waiting. Anna's voice broke into a scream. "Don't take it. If you turn it, you'll never come back." The wind rushed from the door, pulling at her hair, tugging her forward as though begging her to step inside. And then, cutting through the roar, came a sound so small it shouldn't have mattered. The jingle of Sosa's real key ring at his belt. Ordinary, human, hers. It was the only sound that didn't belong to him. The sound of Sosa's keys was sharp, imperfect, a real jingle, not the chorus that filled the night. They clinked against each other as he shifted in the seat, trembling hands gripping the wheel. The noise cut through the whispering in Rosa's head, anchoring her. She snapped her gaze to him. "Your keys. Rattle them again." He looked at her like she was crazy, but obeyed. The familiar clatter filled the car uneven, flawed, utterly human. The sterile white glow spilling from the giant door seemed to waver at the sound just for an instant. Rosa clung to that imperfection. This is what's real. The brass key pulsed in her burned hand. "Desperate now." Pulling against her clenched fist like a living thing. "Unlock. Step through. You're already mine." "No," she whispered through clenched teeth. "You don't get to decide." She lunged forward and jammed the brass key under the edge of the dashboard where the plastic had cracked earlier. With a guttural cry, she snapped it in half against the metal frame. The sound was brittle, final. The flood of whispering stopped for a heartbeat. Silence. Then the world erupted. The giant black door slammed shut with an earth-shaking boom. Every other door lining the road snapped shut in unison, the echoes rolling like thunder. The light vanished, plunging the night back into its natural darkness. Anna gasped. Lifting her head, "You broke it." Rosa stared at the shattered pieces in her palm. They weren't glowing anymore, just dull brass fragments. Ordinary and cold. I broke him. But outside, the silence didn't feel like victory. It was too heavy. Too absolute. The shapes at the edge of the headlights hadn't vanished. They stood motionless now. Dozens of tall shadows ringed in keys, all facing the Corolla. Sosa's whisper cut the dark. Then why aren't they leaving? As if in answer, the trunk of the Corolla gave a long, slow creak. The latch hadn't opened. The lid hadn't lifted. But from inside came a sound Rosa recognized instantly, her own voice. Soft, distorted, whispering back at her. "Rosa, you didn't break me. You just let me in." Rosa's stomach lurched as though the seat had dropped from beneath her. Her own voice dragged low. Stretched slid from the trunk, filling the cabin like fog. Anna clapped her hands over her ears. "Don't listen. Don't listen." Sosa gripped the wheel. His jaw set. "That's not you. It can't be." But Rosa knew. She felt the truth in her scorched palm. Something of her had been left behind when she smashed the brass key, splintered off and trapped. Only it hadn't stayed there. It had burrowed deeper. The trunk whispered again. Closer now, as though her lips were pressed against her own ear. "You didn't choose, you only delayed. Every door opens when I call it." The Corolla shuddered violently, rocking on its suspension. The shadows beyond the headlights swayed, keys clattering in hungry rhythm. Sosa's breath came sharp. "We can't stay here. Tell me what to do." Rosa. Her mind spun. Every instinct screamed to run, to drive until the tank was dry. But Anna's earlier words clawed at her memory. "He makes you want to open the wrong door." If fleeing was the obvious choice, wasn't that the wrong one? The trunk thumped once, twice. The lid bulged upward without unlatching, metal groaning as if the car itself were breathing. Rosa forced her voice steady. "We don't open anything. Not doors. Not locks. Not him. We seal it." "How?" Sosa demanded. She turned to Anna. "You said he always gives the key. Does he always take it back?" Anna's tear-streaked face was pale in the dim glow. She shook her head violently. "No, once you hold it. You're his, forever." The words fell like stones in Rosa's gut. She looked at her branded palm, the welts glowing faintly now, as though the fragments of the brass key still pulsed under her skin. The trunk whispered again, her voice, but clearer now. Crueler. "Don't fight me. Rosa, you already unlocked yourself." The car jolted. The back seat bulged inward, fabric tearing as invisible hands pressed through from the trunk. Keys clinked as they slid down between the cushions, spilling into the floor at her feet. Anna shrieked. Sosa cursed, fumbling for his baton. But Rosa only stared at her own burning palm, realization hardening in her chest. The only door left to close was the one inside her. Keys spilled onto the Corolla's floor mats, skittering like insects. Some were jagged iron, others delicate brass, all impossibly old. They rang together with maddening cheer, as if celebrating her collapse. Rosa clutched her seared palm to her chest. The burn wasn't on her skin anymore. It pulsed deeper, under the bone, as if a lock had been carved into her very ribs. The whisper from the trunk slithered closer, a perfect imitation of her voice now. "Don't fight it. You'll only bleed. Open the door inside. Let me walk through." Her knees buckled in the cramped seat. She saw it then, not with her eyes. But in the hollow between heartbeats, a door standing inside her chest, black wood, iron hinges, rattling from within. Something was pounding to be let out. Sosa swung his baton, smashing the back seat where the bulges pressed through. Tell me what to do. Rosa, how do we shut this? Ana was sobbing, words tumbling out between gasps. You can't. You can't. Once he marks you, the only door left is yours. Rosa's vision blurred with tears. Then maybe, she choked. Maybe I have to lock it myself. The keys scattered across the floor trembled, some lifting, as if pulled by invisible strings. They began to orbit her, clinking against the glass, the dash. Her legs, searching for the right fit. Her branded hand twitched, fingers curling. She felt the shape of the brass key still inside her. Even though she'd shattered it, its teeth lined up perfectly with the lock in her chest. Sosa grabbed her shoulders. Don't you dare. He wants you to... But she cut him off. Voice raw. He already has me. I can't stop that, but maybe I can stop him from getting you. She lifted her burned palm and pressed it hard over her sternum. The pain was instant, electric. The invisible door inside her ribcage rattled violently, hinges screeching. Something behind it shrieked in fury, shaking her whole body. Ana screamed, covering her face. He's going to tear her apart. The whisper from the trunk rose into a howl, a dozen versions of Rosa's own voice overlapping. Don't close it. Don't you dare. You belong to me. Her chest burned like fire as she twisted the phantom key inside her heart. And for the first time, the locks didn't open. They slammed shut. The sound was seismic. Rosa felt it echo inside her bones clunk. Clunk. Clunk, a cascade of locks sliding into place. The invisible door in her chest sealed tight, bolts driving home with finality. She screamed with the effort, body arching, fingers digging into her sternum. The burning welts in her palm flared white-hot, then dimmed, cooling to an angry scar. The whispers from the trunk cut off mid-syllable, as though strangled. A heavy silence fell, broken only by Rosa's ragged gasps. Then the keys scattered across the floor went still, one by one. They disintegrated, flaking to dust, drifting away like ash. The bulges in the seat melted back, the fabric sagging limp. Ana peeked from behind her arms, her eyes wide. She shut him out. Sosa dropped his baton, stunned, his chest heaving. He reached for Rosa, steadying her trembling shoulders. You did it. Whatever you did, it worked. But Rosa shook her head weakly. Her voice was hoarse. I didn't beat him. I just locked him away, inside, where he can't get out. The night around them shifted. The tall shadows that had lined the road no longer swayed forward. They stood still, indistinct, as though uncertain. Then, slowly, they began to fade, melting into the dark scrubland until only silence remained. The headlights flickered once, twice, then steadied, casting their ordinary yellow beams on nothing but cracked asphalt and mesquite. The giant door that had blocked the road was gone. The corridor of doors behind them gone. Just a lonely country road again. Ana pressed her forehead to Rosa's arm, sobbing with relief. It's over. But Rosa knew better. The silence inside her wasn't victory. It was pressure. The locked door in her chest throbbed faintly, as though something behind it still paced, still waited. Sosa squeezed her shoulder. We're getting out of here. Town's not far. Cops. People. Lights. We'll never set foot in that library again. Rosa met his eyes, then glanced down at her scarred palm. The burn was faintly glowing still, like embers refusing to die. "It doesn't matter where we go," she whispered. "I'm carrying the door with me now." And from deep inside, muffled, distant, but undeniable, came the faint rattle of a single key turning against the lock. The sound was so soft, Rosa almost convinced herself she imagined it. Just a gentle tick, like a key brushed against a lock, muffled deep inside her ribcage. But the vibration crawled outward, tingling through her scarred palm, humming along her bones. Anna flinched as though she'd heard it too. She gripped Rosa's sleeve, whispering, "He's still there." Sosa shoved the Corolla into gear, tires crunching gravel as the car lurched forward. "I don't care where he is, we're leaving this road, and we're never looking back." The ordinary night surrounded them again. Fence posts, cactus, shadows. The endless stretch of blacktop under the beam of the headlights. No giant doors. No shadows in the mesquite. Just Texas scrubland. As it should have been. But Rosa sat rigid, hand pressed flat to her chest. Each breath felt foreign, as though she had to push air past a barrier inside her. The locked door beat faintly with her pulse. Sosa glanced at her in the mirror. His voice was steady but strained. "What did you mean? You're carrying it now?" Rosa's throat tightened. "He wanted a door. I gave him mine." The words tasted like ash. She wanted to believe it was final, that shutting him inside herself had ended it, but the faint pressure beneath her sternum said otherwise. She hadn't destroyed him. She'd become his prison. The radio on Sosa's belt crackled suddenly, making all three of them jump. Static hissed, then cleared just long enough for a voice familiar. Calm, unmistakably hers. "Rosa," it said softly, "thank you for letting me in." The radio went dead. Sosa ripped it off his belt and hurled it out the window. It vanished under the wheels with a crunch. "No more of that," he muttered. But Rosa couldn't tear her gaze from the dark stretch of road ahead. The stars were sharp and endless above, indifferent to the terror that still clung to her. Anna curled against her side, whispering half prayers, half sobs. The locked door inside Rosa pulsed again. This time, the faintest metallic click echoed in her ears, an internal sound, one no one else could hear. One lock sliding free. The faint click echoed inside her, intimate and undeniable. Rosa stiffened, clutching her chest as if she could physically hold the bolt in place. But it was too late. One of the invisible locks had undone itself. She could feel the pressure shift, the weight behind the inner door pressing harder now. Sensing weakness, Anna stirred beside her, her eyes wide, wet with tears. "What is it?" Rosa forced her voice low. "Steady." One of the locks slipped. Anna whimpered, hiding her face. "That's how it starts. First one, then all of them." Sosa's knuckles whitened on the wheel. "Don't say that. We'll figure something out." He glanced at Rosa through the rear view. "If it's inside you, maybe a priest, someone who knows about possession." The word landed heavy in the car. Possession. Rosa almost laughed, but the sound snagged in her throat. This didn't feel like something holy water could touch. It was older, deeper. The road narrowed, lined with overhanging mesquite. Shadows danced in the headlights, throwing long fingers across the pavement. Every sway of branches looked like figures waiting just beyond reach. The locked door in Rosa's chest pulsed harder, and another click snapped inside her ribs. The second lock undone. She gasped, doubling forward, clutching herself. Anna screamed, curling tight. "He's opening it. He's opening her." Sosa jerked the wheel, pulling them onto the shoulder, gravel spitting under the tires. He twisted around in his seat, eyes wild. "Rosa, talk to me. What's happening?" She couldn't answer. The pressure inside was unbearable. A tide pressing against the failing locks. A whisper curled through her mind, no longer coaxing, no longer patient. 2 down, 7 to go. Her breath came ragged. "He's counting." She choked. Sosa swore, slamming his fist against the dash. "Then we don't give him time to finish. We find a way to shut him out for good." But Rosa barely heard him, her vision blurred at the edges. Darkness seeping in. And deep inside, she felt the third lock begin to tremble. The tremor inside her chest rattled like a loose hinge. Shaking with every beat of her heart, Rosa clamped her scarred palm over her sternum, desperate to hold it still. But the pressure only built, as though something behind the door was laughing, leaning its full weight forward. Click. The third lock gave way. Rosa screamed, the sound raw and animal, bowing forward until her forehead hit her knees. Fire spread from her chest down her arms, searing every nerve. Anna clutched her from the side, sobbing. "He's almost through. Once the door's open, she's gone." Sosa reached over the seat, grabbing Rosa by the shoulders. "Fight it. You slammed it shut once. You can do it again, do you hear me? Fight." But Rosa's vision was splitting in two. The road ahead blurred, replaced by a second reality, an endless corridor lined with doors, each rattling violently on its hinges. She stood barefoot in the middle of it, the brass key glowing once more in her burned hand. And at the far end of the hall, a tall figure waited, keys jangling at its belt, its head tilted. Patient. 3 down, 6 to go. Her breath echoed in both worlds. Ragged and shallow, she turned the brass key over in her hand, hating it, yet knowing it was part of her now. "You're not getting the rest." She spat, her voice echoing through the corridor. The figure tilted its head further. They always say that. None of them ever lasts beyond 5. The corridor shuddered, dust falling from the frames of the nearest doors. Back in the Corolla, Rosa's body convulsed, slamming against the seatbelt. Sosa held her steady, face twisted in helpless rage. "Stay with me. Rosa, don't let him take you." But her body wasn't fully hers anymore. Her left hand rose against her will, fingers curling into the shape of a key, turning in a lock. And inside, the fourth bolt began to slide. The sliding metal groan reverberated through Rosa's bones. She felt it as clearly as if it were echoing in her ears, another lock failing. The inner door bowing outward under invisible pressure. Click. The fourth bolt gave. Her body arched in the seat, a guttural cry tearing from her throat, her left hand twisted, wrist jerking violently, as though it were turning a phantom key inside her ribs. Sosa pinned her shoulders against the seat. "No, don't let him have you." His voice cracked, the hard edge of command breaking into desperation. Anna sobbed, rocking back and forth, her voice high and pleading. Make her stop, or he'll open it all the way." Inside Rosa's vision, the endless corridor rattled, doors slammed against their frames, hinges squealing as though the whole place were alive. At the far end, the tall figure began to walk toward her, slow, deliberate steps echoing. With each step, the keys at its belt jingled in triumph. 4 down, 5 to go. Rosa's branded palm pulsed hot, the shape of the brass key glowing in her flesh. Her body trembled, every nerve screaming. No, she gasped, forcing her voice through clenched teeth. I closed you once. I'll close you again. The figure chuckled low, hollow, vibrating through the corridor. You didn't close me. You only invited me deeper. Every lock you hear is me finding my way out. Her knees buckled in the vision. She staggered, gripping the burning key in her hand, trying to resist. Back in the Corolla, her eyes snapped open, pupils blown wide, breath ragged. She looked at Sosa, but her voice wasn't fully her own. It was layered, her tone woven with something deeper, older. He's almost here, she rasped. The seatbelt strained as she jerked violently again. Her left hand clawed at the scar on her chest, nails raking the skin. And deep within, the fifth bolt began to tremble loose. The tremor inside Rosa's chest grew into a grinding groan, metal scraping metal, her body convulsed, back arching against the seat, every muscle taut as if she were straining against invisible chains. Click. The fifth lock slid free. The sound echoed both in her bones and in the phantom corridor where she stood barefoot. The doors lining the endless hallway slammed open and shut in rapid succession. As though mocking applause, dust fell from the ceiling. The tall figure came closer now, its form clearer in the sterile glow, shoulders too broad, arms dangling too long, a belt of countless keys swinging at its waist. 5 down, 4 to go. The voice burrowed into her skull, layered with her own. Back in the Corolla, Sosa shook her hard. Rosa, stay with me. Don't let him take the rest. His face was wet with sweat. His voice breaking with something he would never admit was fear. Anna was wailing now, covering her ears, eyes squeezed shut. He always gets them, once it's 5. Nobody comes back, please. Don't let her go. Rosa's branded palm flared brighter, searing lines of light crawling up her wrist like veins filled with fire. She gasped, forcing her head up, meeting Sosa's desperate eyes. I can't hold him, she whispered. Not much longer. Her other hand rose against her will, fingers turning in the air like a key twisting into an invisible lock. The air in the Corolla thickened, pressing in on them, every window fogging with condensation despite the desert night. In the corridor, Rosa's feet dragged forward, closer to the approaching figure. She fought to stop, but the brass key in her hand pulled her onward. The figure tilted its head, patient, assured. You're almost through. Just open the door. Rosa, let yourself out. Her heart hammered so hard it felt like it might split her chest. She dug her nails into her palms, choking out. I'm not yours. The corridor rattled violently. The locks inside her ribcage screamed in protest. And then the 6th bolt gave way. The sound of the 6th lock breaking was louder than the others. Like a shotgun blast reverberating inside her chest, Rosa screamed. Body jerking so hard the seatbelt cut into her shoulder. Her vision fractured, splitting between the cramped Corolla and the endless corridor where the figure now loomed halfway down the hall. Click. The echo of the lock rolled outward, and every door lining the phantom corridor blew open at once. Behind each one, shadows spilled figures, hunched and faceless, belts heavy with keys, all swaying in unison. Their chorus of jangling filled the air, vibrating through Rosa's skull. 6 down, 3 to go. Her scar seared with blinding light, veins in her arm glowing like molten wire. Rosa, Sosa bellowed, gripping her face between his hands, forcing her eyes to his. You are not his. Do you hear me? You're stronger than this." Her voice tore out in a layered rasp, both hers and not. "I already opened the door. I'm just watching him walk through." Sosa's hands trembled but didn't let go. "Then slam it shut again. I don't care if it kills you, don't let him finish." Anna's sobs shook her whole body, but she shouted through them, desperate. "You said once he gives you the key, it's forever. But what if you give it back? What if you throw it away before he's all the way through?" The words pierced Rosa's haze. Give it back, throw it away. In the corridor, the brass key in her hand pulsed with unbearable heat, fusing to her skin. The figure stretched out a pale, too long hand, palm open, waiting. "That's right, give it to me." Her body trembled, torn between surrender and defiance. She lifted the key, fire eating into her palm. Her knees buckled under the pressure. Sosa's voice thundered, grounding her. "Don't give it to him. Give it to us. Anchor it here." The figure paused mid-step, its head tilting sharply at the words. The chorus of keys stuttered, jangling unevenly. For the first time, Rosa sensed hesitation. Her chest heaved. "If I throw it anywhere, it won't be to you." With every ounce of will, she raised the key high, and the seventh bolt inside her began to quake. The rattling of the seventh lock was deafening inside Rosa's body. Like a metal gate being battered from the other side, her entire chest shook with each strike. She dropped forward, choking on air, fingers white-knuckled around the phantom key that burned against her palm. Click. The seventh bolt snapped free. In the corridor, the tall figure lurched closer. Now, so near Rosa could see the hollows where its eyes should have been. Shadows poured from the open doors behind it, crowding the hall, all of them jangling their belts of keys in unison. The sound was an unbearable storm. 7 down, 2 to go. The voice echoed through her skull, woven perfectly with her own tone, mocking her from within. Sosa was shouting at her, shaking her shoulders. "Don't you give in, Rosa? Listen to me. You've still got the choice. Slam it. Lock it. Do it now." But Rosa's arms jerked against her will, her wrist twisting in the air like she was turning a key inside herself. The movement was smoother now, practiced, inevitable. Anna threw herself forward, clutching Rosa's wrist with both hands, her voice shrill. "No, don't let him make you open it all the way. You can still fight, please." The corridor tilted and shook under Rosa's bare feet. She was so close to handing the key over. The figure's hand waited, patient, inches from hers. But then she looked down. Anna was there too, not just in the car, but faintly, impossibly, her small shape flickering inside the corridor, clutching Rosa's wrist, just as she did in the real world, her tear-streaked face, eyes pleading. "You're not alone," Anna whispered in both worlds. "Don't let him trick you into thinking you are." The figure's faceless head snapped toward the girl. The chorus of keys faltered. For the first time, Rosa felt it anger. Her burned palm pulsed hotter, the brass key glowing brighter. The 8th bolt rattled wildly, ready to give. And Rosa realized she couldn't just lock him away. She had to decide where the key truly belonged. The 8th lock trembled with a shriek of tortured metal, reverberating through Rosa's bones. Her vision stuttered, the real and the corridor overlapping until she couldn't tell which world she was in. The car's dash, the endless hallway, Anna's tiny hands clutching her wrist, they all existed at once, layered like glass panes. Click. The 8th bolt slid free. Her chest convulsed with the release. Air hissed from her lungs as though something had stolen her breath from inside. The corridor shook. Doors slumming open beat her. Shadows pouring out like water breaching a dam. The figure loomed closer. Hand still outstretched. 8 down. 1 to go. The voice was triumph itself. Deep and steady. Filling every corner of her skull. In the Corolla, Sosa's roar cut through the chaos. Rosa, don't you give him that last one. You've still got a choice. His hands clamped her face. His eyes inches from hers. Fierce and desperate. Anna's voice pierced higher. Breaking. Throw it away. Don't let anyone have it, him. Us. Nobody. It's yours to choose. Rosa's whole body trembled. The brass key burned so hot now she swore it was melting into her flesh. Her knees buckled in the phantom corridor. Dragging her down, the figure loomed, towering above her, faceless yet hungry. The weight of all the shadows pressing forward behind it. She realized something in that instant. Every voice, every whisper, every manipulation had been about choice. He never forced the locks, he made her turn them. He gave her the key. And she obeyed. But there was another option. Her fist tightened around the glowing key. You want it? She rasped. Then choke on it. With every ounce of will, Rosa raised the key high, not toward the figure. Not toward Ana or Sosa, but overhead. And with a scream that ripped her throat raw, she slammed it downward, driving it into the floor of the corridor. The hallway erupted, doors shattered from their frames, shadows shrieking. The figure's faceless head jerking back in fury, the jangling of keys twisted into a violent discordant roi. In the real world, Rosa's body convulsed once. Twice. Her chest blazed with unbearable fire then. Suddenly, went still. Her palm opened. The brass key was gone. And inside her chest, the 9th lock rattled violently, and then, to her shock, held firm. The pressure inside Rosa's chest quaked. The final lock rattling like it would burst apart. For a heartbeat, she braced for the inevitable click. But it never came. The 9th lock held. The corridor split in two, the doors dissolving, collapsing inward like paper folding into flame. Shadows shrieked as they were dragged backward, sucked into cracks in the floor. The tall figure reeled, its belt of keys jangling madly as it reached for Rosa one last time. You can't hold me forever. The voice thundered, breaking apart with static and fury. Every lock rusts, every prison crumbles. You are mine. Rosa clutched her scarred chest, teeth bared, forcing her words through the pain. Then you'll rot with me. The figure lunged, then split into fragments, scattering with the storm of collapsing doors. The corridor folded in on itself, white light bursting, and Rosa was hurled backward into the Corolla. Her body slammed against the seat, lungs dragging in air like she hadn't breathed in hours. Sweat soaked her uniform. Her hands trembled uncontrollably, but the searing pain in her chest had dimmed. The door inside was sealed, all bolts locked tight. Sosa gripped her face again, searching her eyes. Rosa, talk to me, are you in there? She nodded weakly, tears streaking her cheeks. I shut him in. Ana sobbed into Rosa's side, relief shaking her whole frame. You didn't let him take you. You didn't open the last door. Rosa's palm still burned faintly, the scar glowing red like an ember. She knew the figure hadn't lied entirely. The locks were strong now, but they weren't eternal. One day, they might rust. One day, they might fail. But for tonight, She had won. The road ahead stretched out again, as it should have blacktop under the beam of the headlights. The scrubland quiet, no doors. No shadows, just a lonely Texas night. Sosa shifted the car back into drive, his voice hoarse. "We're going to town. First stop, church, then maybe a hospital. After that," he trailed off, shaking his head. "We'll figure it out." Rosa leaned her head back against the seat, holding Ana close, eyes fixed on the dark horizon, and from somewhere deep inside her muffled, faint, almost too soft to hear came the sound of keys, not jangling now, but waiting, to be continued. The sound was subtle, like a janitor's ring tucked into a pocket, a reminder, a promise. Rosa clenched her scarred hand, nails biting her palm, as though she could crush the faint noise into silence. But it didn't stop. Sosa drove with both hands tight on the wheel, his jaw hard. "We'll get you help," he muttered, more to himself than to her. "Somebody has to know what this is." Rosa forced her voice steady. "You didn't see what I saw. This isn't something a priest or doctor can fix." He glanced at her in the mirror. "Then what? You want me to just do nothing? Let you carry it until it eats you alive?" Her eyes dropped to Ana, curled against her, finally breathing in hiccuped sobs. Rosa brushed damp hair from the girl's forehead. "Maybe carrying it is the only way. Better me than her. Better me than anyone else." The quiet night pressed around them. Heavy. Vast. The highway signs flicked by, pale green in the beams of the headlights. Civilization was close now. She could feel it. But so could he. The scar burned once more, sharper this time, and Rosa's vision blurred. For a split second, she wasn't in the Corolla. She was back in the corridor, standing before a single door, hers. Bolts braced it from her side, the ninth still holding firm. Yet from behind it came a rhythm, not pounding now, not forcing, just knocking. 3 times, gentle, patient. Her voice, his voice slid through the cracks. "I'll wait. Locks don't last forever. And when the last one fails, Rosa, I'll have the key again." She jerked back to the car with a gasp, heart hammering. Sosa caught it. "What? What did he say?" Her lips trembled. She couldn't bring herself to repeat it. Not yet. The glow of a gas station appeared ahead, haloed in buzzing neon. Refuge. Or the illusion of it. Sosa slowed, signaling to turn in. Rosa's hand pressed against her chest, feeling the faint warmth still there. The locks were holding, for now. But the keys inside rattled faintly again, like laughter under breath. The gas station lights spilled onto the asphalt, sterile and humming. A lone 18-wheeler idled at the far end of the lot, engine rumbling low. The rest was empty. Sosa pulled the Corolla up to a pump, killed the engine, and let out a shuddering breath. "We'll stop here, catch our breath, maybe call for backup." Ana stirred, blinking in the sudden light. Her face was blotchy from crying, but relief softened her eyes. People are here. He won't follow where people are. Rosa wanted to believe her, but as she pressed her palm to her chest, she felt the warmth still there, the faint pulse of the locks, waiting. Sosa got out first, scanning the lot like a soldier clearing ground. Rosa opened her door, helping Ana onto shaky legs. The fluorescent canopy hummed overhead, its buzz almost covering the faint echo only Rosa could hear, the knock from within. Inside the store, the air smelled of burnt coffee and cleaning solution. A tired clerk sat behind the counter, scrolling on his phone. Ordinary, blessedly ordinary. Bathroom's down that way. Sosa muttered, jerking his chin toward a side hall. I'll grab water. Maybe a map. Keep your phone ready. Anna clung to Rosa as they walked. The hall was narrow, lined with flickering lights. One of the bathroom doors was out of order, taped with a handwritten sign. The other creaked open. Empty. Rosangelt. Brushing Anna's hair back. Go. I'll be right here. The girl hesitated. Don't leave. I won't. Rosa smiled, forcing steadiness into her voice. Door open. Okay, I'll wait outside. Anna slipped in. The door ajar. Rosa leaned against the wall, exhaling. Her chest throbbed faintly. The locks were quiet now, almost still. Maybe Anna was right. Maybe here. Surrounded by lights and life, he couldn't press so hard. But then click. Her blood froze. The 8th lock had relatched itself. For a heartbeat she didn't understand. The door inside her hadn't weakened, it had tightened. A whisper curled through her skull. Yentle now. Almost amused. See? You need me. Rosa, I'll keep the lock strong, as long as you carry me. Her hand trembled against her chest. Relief and horror crashed together. He was locked away, but not because she had won, because he wanted to be. Behind her, the bathroom door creaked. Rosa turned. Anna was gone. The bathroom door swung lightly on its hinges. Creaking against the frame, Rosa's pulse lurched. She darted forward, pushing it open. The fluorescent light buzzed above a row of cracked tiles. One stall stood ajar. Empty. The sink dripped steadily, echoing off the walls. No Anna. Rosa's chest clenched. Anna? Her voice bounced back at her. Thin and hollow. She pushed into the stall, shoved it open, nothing but the toilet. Water swirling faintly, as if it had just been flushed. Her branded palm seared. Click. The 7th lock re-engaged, solid as stone. She staggered against the wall. No, 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 no. The whisper slipped through her skull. Silk and smoke. She was never yours to keep. Doors open both ways. Rosa, did you think you saved her? Her throat closed. She'd felt Anna's hand in hers. Had seen her in the corridor. A child. Flesh and blood. She couldn't have been... Sosa's voice cut through the hall. Rosa, what's wrong? She spun. He stood at the end of the corridor, a bottle of water in one hand, his other hovering near his baton. His eyes narrowed at her face. Where's the kid? Rosa's mouth opened, but nothing came. Her chest burned, the locks inside humming with unnatural rhythm. Sosa strodetort her. Scanning the bathroom. Rosa, where is she? The stall door swung shut on its own, latching with a soft snick. Sosa froze. His knuckles tightened around the bottle until it crumpled. Christ. The whisper rippled again, layered over Rosa's breath. Her own voice, but not hers. Every door you open has a cost. She was the price for yours. Her knees buckled. The walls seemed to lean closer, pressing her into herself. Sosa caught her arm, steadying her. Don't you listen to him. We'll find her. Do you hear me? We'll find her. But Rosa already knew. The corridor inside her pulsed faintly. Behind her sealed door, the shadows stirred, and one of them was small, and sobbing. Rosa's heart nearly split at the sound, faint but undeniable. It pulsed from inside her chest, Anna's sobs, muffled as though through thick walls. No, Rosa pressed her palms hard against her sternum, trying to smother the sound. No, she's not in there. She's not. The whisper slithered. smug. Where else would she be? You carried her through when you closed the lock. She's yours now, just another shadow in the hall. Sosa shook her shoulders. Rosa, talk to me. What do you hear? Her eyes burned. Tears hot down her face. She's inside. She gasped. He trapped her with him when I shut the door. Sosa's jaw tightened. His eyes dark. Then we rip it open and drag her back out. Rosa's whole body convulsed. No, if I open it again, he comes with her, all of him. The corridor flickered in her vision again. She stood before the sealed black door, its bolts glowing faintly. Behind it, shadows moved, keys jingling, and Anna's voice cried, high and broken, please. I want to go home, please. Rosa's fingers dug into her chest. I can't leave her there. The voice in her skull purred. Then unlock yourself. Just one latch, just enough to let her out. The seventh bolt rattled faintly, as though waiting for her hand. Sosa grabbed her wrist. Don't you dare. That's what he wants. The bathroom lights flickered. The stall door creaked open again. Slowly, deliberately. From inside came the sound of keys spilling across tile. Rosa's branded palm burned. The bolts inside her chest trembled in unison, as though echoing the keys on the floor. Anna's sobs rose again. Louder, more frantic. Rosa, help me. The whisper overlapped with it. Deep and mocking. One door for the girl. That's all it takes. Sosa raised his baton, glaring into the stall as if he could fight the sound. Rosa, he said, voice hard. Listen to me. If you open that door, you won't just lose her, you'll lose yourself. Her scar pulsed with heat, each throb a countdown. The choice pressed on her chest like a blade. Open and risk everything, or keep Anna locked away with him forever. The bathroom seemed to tilt around Rosa, walls pressing inward. Anna's sobs clawed at her from behind the locked door inside her chest, each one sharper than the last. The sound didn't belong in her. It was wrong. A child's voice rattling around in her bones. Sosa held her by the shoulders, steady and unyielding. Don't you listen. It's a trick. He's using her voice. But Rosa knew better. The cry was too raw, too human. He could mimic her voice. Twisted, but he couldn't fake the terror she heard. That was real. The whisper coiled again, smooth and venomous. One latch. Rosa, one turn of the key. Let her slip out. And I'll stay. I swear it. Her scar flared hot, her palm aching to curl into the shape of the brass key she'd already shattered. She felt the seventh bolt twitch, the sound of its catch softening, waiting for her choice. She gritted her teeth, forcing the words through clenched jaws. You don't swear anything. You don't know how. The chuckle vibrated in her skull. Maybe not, but you'll do it anyway, because you can't live knowing you left her with me. Her knees wavered, her chest so hot she thought her ribs might split. She saw again the corridor black, infinite, lined with rattling doors. The one in front of her glowed faintly, bolts straining. Behind it, Anna's silhouette pressed against the wood, small palms flat, her face streaked with tears. Please, the girl whimpered. Please don't leave me. Rosa staggered back, hitting the wall hard. Her breath came in jagged pulls. Sosa's voice cut through the storm. Rosa, look at me. His hands clamped her face, dragging her gaze to his. If you open it, we both know he won't stop with her. He won't stop with you. He'll come through everything. Do you understand? She tried to speak, but her throat closed. The pressure in her chest was unbearable now. One bolt away from ruin, one bolt away from mercy. The whisper slid beneath Souza's words. Smoother. Sweeter. One door for the girl. That's all it takes. Be a savior. Rosa. Be her hero. The seventh bolt shuddered violently, and Rosa realized she was already holding the key again. Holding the key. The brass key shimmered in Rosa's burned palm. Hot as a coal, she hadn't reached for it. Hadn't chosen it. It had simply appeared. As if it had always belonged there. Its crooked teeth gleamed under the bathroom's flickering light, edges sharp enough to cut flesh. Anna's sobs inside her chest rose. Urgent. Frantic. Please. Rosa, don't let him keep me. Please. The whisper wove through the plea. Dark and amused. One door. That's all. Turn it. And she walks free. Rosa's knees shook. Her vision split again, the corridor rising around her like a tide. She stood before the locked door. Bolts glowing faintly red. The seventh rattled. Loosening. Waiting for her hand. Beyond it, Anna's silhouette pressed harder. Her knuckles white against the wood. Souza's shout jolted her. Rosa, drop it. That's not the girl, it's him. He raised his baton. Eyes wild. Ready to smash the key from her hand. But Rosa jerked it back. If she's real, if she's really in there, what if I don't open it? What if I leave her? Souza's jaw clenched. Then she's gone, and that's better than letting him out with her. Her heart split. How could she choose? Sacrifice Anna if she was real for safety, or risk everything to bring her back? The brass key pulsed hotter, her scar searing with every beat. Anna's voice came again, cracking with desperation. I don't want to die in here. Please. I'll be good. Please let me out. The corridor shuddered, bolts rattling like teeth. Rosa raised the key. The whisper hissed with delight. That's it. Be her hero. But as Rosa stared at Anna's flickering silhouette, something jarred her. The girl's lips moved in time with the words, but the words weren't right. Not please let me out. Her mouth had shaped something else. Please don't. Rosa froze, the key hovering. Her scar burned so hot she nearly dropped it. And in that heartbeat of doubt, the whisper roared, turn it. The seventh bolt screamed against its catch, seconds from breaking. Rosa's chest thundered with panic. Her hand shook violently, the brass key slick with sweat. The image of Anna's small silhouette blurred and doubled pleading hands pressed against the inner door. But Rosa replayed it in her head, the lips, the silent words, please don't. Her gut clenched. The sobbing voice might have been his trick. But Anna's mouth had begged for the opposite. The whisper seethed through her skull, sharp and jagged. Don't listen to what you think you saw. She's begging you. Rosa, open the door. Be human. Her hand lowered, almost against her will. The seventh bolt rattled, screaming for release. Souza grabbed her wrist, squeezing hard. You drop that key now. His voice cracked. Raw. You want proof she's real? Then you make him show her in front of us. Out here, not in your head. The words hit like cold water. Rosa blinked, her grip faltering. If Anna was truly behind the door, she couldn't say those words, not with her mouth moving in contradiction. The corridor flickered again. Rosa stood before the glowing door, Anna's outline quivering on the other side. The girl's face tilted up toward her, eyes huge and wet. For the first time, the shadow shifted its edges, rippling unnaturally. Rosa's heart dropped. It wasn't a girl's face at all. It was a mask. The tall figure's voice slid through her mind. Deeper now. Impatient. You're cleverer than the others. But cleverness won't save you. Sooner or later, Every lock gives. The mask melted away, revealing hollow blackness behind the child shape. The hands pressing the door warped into long, spidery fingers tipped with jagged keys. Rosa gasped. Stumbling back in both worlds, it was never her. The brass key shrieked in her hand. Trying to twist on its own, she slammed it against the tile wall, sparks speeding. Her scream tearing out of her throat. You don't get her. The seventh bolt rattled violently, then stayed. The silhouette vanished from the door, collapsing into the shadows. And for the first time, Rosa heard a frustrated growl behind the whispers. The sound was low, guttural, vibrating through Rosa's chest like a trapped beast. It was nothing like the coaxing whispers that had taunted her since the library. This was raw, unmasked anger. The corridor shook, bolts rattled, the black door bulged outward once, then slammed back into place. Held by her refusal, the shadows writhed behind it, furious, their keys clashing in a discordant frenzy. In the gas station bathroom, Rosa collapsed against the wall, chest heaving. The brass key had gone cold in her palm. Brittle and dull, she let it clatter to the floor. Sosa kicked it across the tiles, sending it skidding beneath the far stall, his baton never lowered. Good, that's good. Keep him angry, means you're winning. Rosa pressed her scarred palm to her sternum. The locks inside pulsed faintly, but none had broken, none had slid free. For now, they held. Anna's absence struck her like a physical wound. The silence where the child's sobs had been was almost worse than the lies. She whispered hoarsely. She was never real. Sosa's gaze softened for the first time all night. Then you just saved yourself from giving him everything. The whisper returned, slick and venomous, curling around the edges of her mind. You think you're strong because you denied me once? Locks corrode. Rosa, rust spreads, time is mine. Rosa lifted her head, voice steady despite the tremor in her body. Then I'll be rust with you, but you don't get out. For a moment, silence pressed thick around her. Then the growl came again. Longer this time, rattling the pipes and tiles until the mirror trembled on the wall. The bathroom light overhead flickered violently, then popped, shattering into sparks. The sudden dark swallowed them whole. From inside, Rosa's chest came a single, deliberate knock. 1, 2, 3, and then, muffled but sharp, the sound of a bolt shifting. The eighth lock had begun to move again. The knock echoed like hammer strikes in Rosa's bones. Her breath caught as the eighth lock inside her chest rattled loose. Metal grinding slow and deliberate. Click. The sound wasn't final yet. The bolt trembled, half drawn, waiting for the smallest weakness to finish its slide. Sosa grabbed her shoulders in the dark, his voice sharp. He's pushing again. Fight it. Rosa's scar flared, heat coursing through her veins. Her hand clawed at her sternum, as if she could physically hold the lock shut. I can't. He's too strong. The whisper unfurled, oily and smug. You think you fight me, but I am in the fight itself. Every struggle pulls the bolt. Every scream oils the rust. The bathroom seemed to stretch, in the dim glow of the hallway light beyond. The stalls elongated, their doors taller, hinges rattling. Keys rained faintly from nowhere, tapping across tile in an endless scatter. Sosa swung his baton against the nearest stall. Metal and wood splintered, echoing like thunder. Stay in this world. Rosa, look at me. She tried, but her vision slid back into the corridor. The eighth bolt glowed bright red, straining against its catch. Shadows pressed against the black door from behind, their claws of iron keys scraping, gouging, desperate to spill out. The tall figure loomed closer than ever, its faceless head tilted toward her, hands clasping its heavy ring of keys. 8 down soon. Rosa, when the last gives, "I'll wear your skin," and he... The figure gestured toward Sosa's faint silhouette. Visible even in this liminal place, he'll open every door, just trying to save you. No, Rosa gasped, forcing the word through clenched teeth. You don't get him. The figure leaned forward, whispering through her own mouth, her own breath. I already do. In the real bathroom, Sosa staggered, clutching his chest as though winded. His key ring clattered at his belt. Rosa's blood turned cold. The 8th lock rattled harder, not from her weakness, but his. The jangle of Sosa's key ring was sharp in the dark, clashing with the phantom chorus inside Rosa's chest. Every clink seemed to pull at the half-drawn 8th bolt, dragging it looser, closer to release. Rosa's stomach twisted. It's not me he's using you. Sosa pressed a hand hard against his chest, face pale in the dim light from the hallway. What are you talking about? His keys clattered again as he staggered forward. The whisper slid through Rosa's mind, slick and triumphant. All doors open with the right hand. He carries his own. And when he turns them, Rosa, he'll unlock us both. In the corridor vision, the tall figure stepped aside. A second form emerged in the sterile glow, Sosa's outline, baton in one hand, his own heavy ring of keys in the other. His face was blank, eyes lifeless, moving as if pulled by invisible strings. No, Rosa's cry cracked. That's not him. That's you wearing him. The figure's laugh was a metallic scrape. Does it matter? He has the keys, and soon he'll choose. The 8th bolt groaned, sliding another fraction free. Sosa doubled over in the real bathroom, his breath ragged. Rosa, it feels like something's inside me, pulling. His hands clawed at his belt, at the keys, trying to tear them loose. I can't drop them. Rosa lunged, grabbing his hands, forcing them open. The keys clattered to the tile, scattering in a messy heap. The noise was ordinary, human, but the corridor trembled at the sound, the shadows recoiling in fury. The whisper snarled, breaking through her own lips. Fool, you think throwing them down matters? A key is never lost, only waiting. The 8th bolt shrieked against its housing, on the brink of sliding free. Rosa clenched her scarred palm and shouted over the storm, voice raw. Then I'll make sure there's no hand left to turn it. With all her strength, she smashed Sosa's keys under her heel. The ring snapped. The corridor shuddered. The tall figure recoiled, its belt jangling wildly, discordant, broken, and the 8th bolt stilled. The silence after the 8th bolt stilled was crushing, as if the whole world held its breath. The corridor dissolved into darkness, the tall figure retreating like smoke sucked back into a vent. The shadows hissed, scattering. Rosa slumped against the bathroom wall, her chest aching, her palm seared but steady. The locks inside her ribcage pulsed faintly, all 9 intact, for now. Sosa leaned heavy against the opposite wall, sweat dripping down his temple. His broken key ring lay scattered at their feet, jagged shards of metal glinting in the dim light. He looked at her, voice hoarse. What the hell did you just do? I cut off his handhold, Rosa rasped, He can't use your keys if they don't exist. The whisper stirred faintly. Low and venomous, you delay, that's all. Time corrodes, locks rust. Even without his keys, you're still mine. Rosa's scar burned in response, but the pain was muted compared to before. She pressed her palm flat against it. Defiant. You stay locked, you stay forgotten. Sosa pushed himself upright, gripping the wall for balance. We need to get out of here, now, before he finds another way. Together, they left the bathroom. The hum of the gas station's fluorescence, a strangely welcome sound. The tired clerk at the counter barely looked up, oblivious to the storm that had nearly torn Rosa open. The parking lot was empty, save for the distant truck. The Corolla waited, ordinary and still. For a moment, Rosa let herself believe it was over. She climbed into the back seat, her body trembling from exhaustion. Sosa slid behind the wheel. But as the engine rumbled to life, Rosa felt it again, faint. Muffled, 3 gentle knocks. Not from her chest this time. From the glove compartment. Sosa froze, hand hovering over the latch, his face drained of color. Rosa, what's in there? Her scar throbbed in answer. And then the whisper came, not mocking this time, but calm, measured, patient. The last key. The glove compartment rattled once, a hollow shudder, as though something inside had shifted. Rosa's scar flared hot, her palm searing against her chest. The locks inside her ribs pulsed in unison, quaking under a new pressure. Sosa's hand hovered over the latch. His voice was raw. If there's something in there, we need to know. Better to see it than let it. No, Rosa lunged forward, grabbing his wrist. That's what he wants. He's baiting us. Don't open it. The compartment rattled again. Harder. Then came a sound, a faint metallic scrape, like a single key dragging across plastic. The whisper slid into her head. Smooth as silk. You can't hold 9 forever. Rosa, locks wear thin, but one more key, the last one, and you'll be safe. Open it. Take it. Her scar blazed hotter, almost blistering. She saw the corridor again, her black door looming tall. All 9 bolts glowed faintly. Straining. On the floor before it lay a small brass key, gleaming. Anna's voice echoed faintly from behind the door, no longer sobbing, but soft, resigned. It's the only way. Pick it up. Keep me safe. Rosa's chest tightened. She wanted to believe, but she'd seen his masks before. Seen how he twisted voices, bent truth until it shattered. She gritted her teeth. You don't want me safe. You want me yours. The corridor flickered, the figure's faceless head tilting in amusement. And is there a difference? Sosa yanked his hand from Rosa's grip, staring at the glove box. If it's the last key, if it keeps him locked in, shouldn't we at least look? The glove compartment rattled violently now, as though fists pounded from inside. The latch quivered, one twitch away from snapping. Rosa wrapped her arms around her chest, whispering to herself. It's not the last key, it's the first, the one that starts it all. The whisper sharpened, cutting through her thoughts. Then why are you so afraid to hold it again? The latch clicked once, ready to spring. The latch quivered under its own tension. A sharp metallic click rang out. Not yet opening, but promising it would. Rosa clutched her scar, heat surging from her chest into her palm, as though the locks inside her ribs strained toward the glove box. Don't, she whispered. Her voice shook. Don't you dare open it. Sosa's knuckles whitened on the wheel, torn between instincts fight and flee. Rosa, if that thing forces its way out, we're sitting ducks. Maybe if we... Her scream tore through the car before he could finish. That's how it starts. The glove box rattled violently. Harder now. Like something inside was desperate to spill free. Keys clinked faintly within, each jangle in rhythm with Rosa's heartbeat. The corridor flashed before her eyes. The brass key still lay at the base of her sealed door, gleaming with false promise. Behind it, the tall figure pressed forward, its faceless head nearly touching the cracks between the bolts. The ninth lock quivered. "Pick it up, Rosa." The whisper coaxed, softer now, almost tender. "Not for me. For her. She's waiting." Anna's voice drifted faintly again, fragile, trembling. "Please, I'm so cold in here. Just one key, and I can come home." Rosa pressed her forehead against the seat in front of her, choking. "You're not real. You were never real." The whisper chuckled, low and patient, perhaps, but your heart doesn't know the difference. The glove box latch popped. The door sagged an inch, just enough for the overhead light to glint on what lay inside. A single brass key, smooth, waiting. Sosa swore under his breath. "God help me. Rosa, it looks real." Rosa's scar blazed so hot she nearly screamed. The locks inside her chest trembled in unison. The ninth bolt groaned. She lifted her head, teeth bared, her voice low and furious. "If I touch that thing, it's over." The whisper coiled back, triumphant. "Then don't touch it. Let it fall into his hand instead." The glove box creaked wider, the key sliding forward, 1 inch from dropping into Sosa's lap. Time slowed. Rosa's eyes locked on the brass key as it teetered on the lip of the glove box, poised to fall. Every lock inside her chest rattled in anticipation, the ninth trembling most of all. Click. The sound wasn't real, it came from within. Her scar flared, her ribs burning as though the bolt itself had already begun to slide. Sosa's hand darted instinctively to catch the falling key. "No," Rosa shrieked. She hurled herself forward, slapping his hand away. The brass key clattered against the center console, spinning wildly before coming to rest in the shallow groove of the cup holder. The air in the car grew heavy, charged, as if the atmosphere itself leaned in to watch. The whisper slid through her veins, sweet and calm. "It doesn't matter who holds it, Rosa. As long as someone turns it, he's already reaching for it." Her vision split again, the corridor rising in her mind. The tall figure stood right at the sealed door now, faceless head inches from hers. Its long fingers twitched over the bolts, eager, trembling. And there, in the middle of the corridor, the brass key lay on the floor between them. The figure's hollow voice filled her skull. 9 bolts, 9 chances. You've lost 8 already. Let the last one fall. End the fight. Rosa's body shook violently, the pressure in her chest unbearable. The key in the cup holder pulsed with light, casting faint golden glimmers across the dark car. Sosa's face was pale, drenched in sweat. His voice was hoarse. "Rosa, what if it really is the last one? What if picking it up ends this?" Anna's voice whispered faintly from nowhere. "Maybe the lock. Maybe her memory. Please. Rosa, just take it. It hurts so much." Rosa clamped her scarred palm over her chest. The heat scorched her skin, her ribs aching as though the ninth bolt strained to burst. Her voice cracked, barely human. "If I touch it, he's free." The whisper surged triumphant, echoing in her head, her throat, her bones. "Then let it touch you instead. The brass key in the cup holder rattled once, then lifted on its own. The key rose slowly, impossibly, as though suspended by invisible strings. Its jagged teeth glimmered in the dim glow of the dashboard lights. Rosa's breath caught, her scar seared so violently she thought her chest might split open. The ninth lock groaned inside her ribs, the sound echoing like the iron hinge of a cell door dragged wide. Click. Not open yet, but close. So close. Sosa's hand shot out, instinctively grabbing for the key in midair. "I've got it." "Don't touch it," Rosa screamed. She lunged across the seat, knocking his arm down. The car swayed as Sosa jerked back, startled. The brass key hovered now directly in front of Rosa's face. Heat radiated from it, a furnace pressing against her skin. In her mind, the corridor blazed alive. The tall figure stood at her door, its faceless head inches away. Its belt of keys rattled, every jingle harmonizing with her hammering pulse. "Turn it, Rosa," the whisper urged, softer than ever, almost tender. "Not for me, for you. You're tired of fighting, tired of carrying the weight. End it. One turn, and you'll never struggle again." Her scar burned brighter, a molten brand. She felt the bolt inside her chest beginning to slide inch by inch, the pressure unbearable. Anna's voice drifted faintly once more. "If you open it, I'll be free." The tall figure leaned closer, filling her vision. "If you open it, so will I." Rosa's entire body shook, her hand twitching upward against her will. Sosa shouted in her ear, "Desperate, Rosa. Look at me. You've beaten him every time. Don't give in now. 9's just a number, it doesn't own you." Her nails dug into her palm, blood slicking her burned skin. The ninth bolt screamed inside her chest, seconds from snapping. Rosa drew in one ragged breath, summoning every ounce of will. Her voice tore out in a raw cry. "Then I'll break the lock itself." She grabbed the floating brass key with both hands, ignoring the fire searing her flesh, and snapped it across her knee. The corridor exploded in white light. The tall figure roared, a sound of iron and rage, as the ninth lock shattered not outward, but inward, sealing the door into solid stone. And then all at once there was silence.